Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Apple Watch Ultra 3. Now, I've been using the Apple Watch Ultra 3 for about a month now. And coming from a Series 10, there are really three worthy upgrades that may be worthwhile for those considering to upgrade from a standard series Apple Watch to the Ultra series. And now I'm also going to be comparing it whether you should upgrade from an Ultra 2. So let's begin. Okay, so let's briefly touch on design. The Ultra 3 has a drastically different design compared to the standard Apple Watch models. It has a titanium body for starters. Now, you can get titanium on the standard Apple Watch Series 11 as well, but the Ultra 3 comes with it as standard. You also get a bigger size, so instead of the standard 42 and 46 millimeters, the Ultra 3 comes in one size only, 49 millimeters. And those 3 millimeters are noticeable. Well, the display is at first. Because the displays on the Apple Watch Series 10 and 11 are edge-to-edge curved, they give the impression that they're bigger. Whereas the Ultra's display is flat, so it gives the impression that it's smaller. However, after using it, you do notice the extra 3 millimeters. It makes the pressing the icons so much easier on the Ultra. Compared to the standard Apple Watch models, you also get the action button, which we're familiar with from iPhones. You can assign any shortcut you want, like a flashlight or open an app. I have mine set to opening workout. Frankly, it's a very nice, useful feature. Now, the Ultra is available in two finishes, titanium black and natural, which was also available on its predecessor, the Ultra 2. You have four options in terms of bands, excluding the Hermes bands. You have the trail loop, which is like a textile Velcro strap that is similar to the Nike straps on the standard Apple Watch models. You have the Alpine loop, which is also textile with like a hook strap-on mechanism. You have the Ocean band, which is the one I have, which is a silicone band with a like normal watch clasp mechanism. And you also have the titanium Milanese loop, where now we're familiar with the Milanese loop. It's like a magnetic loop, but instead of stainless steel, it is made out of titanium. Of course, you also have the Hermes bands, but those are crazy expensive. If you want a bit of luxury for your Apple Watch Ultra, you can also get those. Now, the standard Apple Watch bands are compatible with the Ultra series. However, they're not really the best fit. Now, let's talk about wearability and comfort. I'm wearing the Apple Watch Ultra 3 right now, actually. And what I've noticed coming from a Series 10 is how much bigger it is. At first, I was worried that the Ultra 3 is going to be a bit too big for my wrists, considering I have small wrists. But actually, it sits quite nicely. It is bigger and prouder than the Apple Watch Series 10, which means that every time you walk with a t-shirt with short sleeves, if you brush your hand against something, you're going to most likely hit your Apple Watch too. I didn't really have that issue with my Series 10 because of how thin that was. But with the Ultra, that happens a lot more often. Thankfully, to the Ultra's respect, it has a titanium body and sapphire crystal glass, so it should be more durable against hits and knocks. However, it is also slightly annoying. If you're wearing a shirt with narrow sleeve cuffs, tight sleeve cuffs, then every time you want to pull out your Apple Watch from its sleeve cuffs, it can get snagged in there, which is also a bit annoying. But frankly, I'm willing to put up with that with the Ultra. In terms of display, like I mentioned, the Ultra 3 is larger. It's at 49 millimeters. It has an OLED panel, which is LTPO3, with wide angle viewing. So any angle you look at it from, you're going to be able to see it clearly. The peak brightness is 3000 nits, which is also the same on the Series 11. And it has an always-on low refresh rate mode, which means when the Apple Watch goes into always-on mode, the second hand is still visible, which like on real watches. It is also available on the Series 11 and the Series 10. And compared to the Ultra 2, the only two updates is the wide-angle OLED and the low LTPO, low refresh rate mode with the always-on. Everything else is the same in terms of displays. In terms of battery life, the Ultra 3 claims 48 hours, which with my use, I was able to get 3 days out of it. So not exactly 72 hours, but I guess Apple claims 48 hours with wearing your Apple Watch to sleep. I don't do that. I just put it on my bedside table. But yeah, 3 days I was able to get out of with like one workout in one of those days, which is a huge upgrade over my Apple Watch Series 10. With that watch, I was able to get around a day and a half of use, again without charging at night. With this one, 3 days, this is probably the best battery life you're gonna get out of an Apple Watch. It's still by no means Garmin levels battery life. Also, the Ultra 3 has 5G connectivity and satellite communication, which the Ultra 2 doesn't. Frankly speaking, I don't know how many of people actually use cellular on their Apple Watches. I don't. I used to. I found it to be quite useless, so I stopped using it, but it is there if you need it. And the Ultra 3 also comes with hypertension monitoring, useful for those people who have high blood pressure. It doesn't measure blood pressure by any means. The Apple Watch can't do that yet, but it does warn you if you do have high blood pressure. So in terms of differences between the Ultra 2 and the Ultra 3, there aren't really many. And I would say if you're someone who has the Ultra 2, I wouldn't say it's worthy upgrading. However, if you're someone with an Ultra, the first gen, yeah, I think it's a worthy upgrade. You get some nice touches. Same goes for those who have the standard Apple Watch models. Now, this one is a bit of a dilemma because at 750 pounds, this makes it almost 2 times more expensive than a standard aluminum Apple Watch Series 11. And is it worth it? Well, the shortest way I can put it is if you want the biggest, baddest flagship Apple Watch, yes, get the Ultra 3. It's going to give you better battery life, significantly better battery life. And actually, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 also supports fast charging from 0 to 80% in 45 minutes. So even though it does have a bigger battery life, with faster charging available, you can still charge it pretty quickly for those scenarios where you need to charge your Apple Watch quickly on the go. But also touches like the bigger display, which make it easier to interact with your Apple Watch, and the action button just make the overall user experience with the Apple Watch much easier and better. I really like the action button. It just saves me a complication on my display. Instead of having to constantly press the workout app on the display, I could just press a physical button and open a workout or even start a workout. Really handy for those people who, for example, wear gloves. If you're somewhere, I don't know, hiking on the mountains in a cold climate, this physical action button is really handy. But other than that, I really didn't find any other features that are worthy of upgrading. My Series 10 was, a good Apple Watch. I hardly ever had any issues with it. I didn't really mind the 1.5 day battery life because with an Apple Watch lifestyle, you're used to putting it on the charger at night by your bed anyway. So if you're someone who really sees the extra battery life, worthy, then yeah, I guess you can consider upgrading. The action button, while it is nice, again, it's something you can live without. And the larger display, the 46mm size was already like good enough in terms of size for me. And because it goes edge to edge and it's curved, it gives the impression that it's a larger display. So there are pros and cons to the Apple Watch Ultra. I would say this, if you're an athlete, you want the most extreme Apple Watch with the longest battery life, that can withstand any sort of conditions, yeah, get the Ultra 3. But if you're an average consumer and you just want an Apple Watch, you're shopping, for your first Apple Watch, or you're upgrading, and you're not sure whether the Ultra is worth over the standard Series 11, I would say just get the Series 11, save yourself the extra 450 pounds, and you have a nice smartwatch that can do most of the things the Ultra can, with the exception of the better battery life and the bigger screen and the action button, which really are the 3 key differences between the standard Apple Watch Series 11 and the Ultra 3. So overall, the Apple Watch Ultra 3, it's a nice smartwatch, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think most people should just stick to the Series 11, and it's more than enough. The Ultra 3 is really for those athletes out there, who constantly use the workout app, for example, or who do extreme sports. Then in that case, yeah, the Ultra 3 is worth it. That's been it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.